Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez.
And I'm Nicole Burdick.
And we're so glad you're here because it's story time. Kind of, sort of, whatever. A few weeks ago, a fan sent in an email asking us to explain how to create a synergistic mono black deck, which was very specific and interesting. They actually asked for all the colors eventually, but they wanted to start with mono black. I kind of felt that that wasn't the usual story-driven content that Arcanum is known for, so I politely replied with, yeah, sure, that sounds great. Maybe someday we'll do that. And then I kind of went back to business as normal. But as it turns out, friends, this is Black Friday. That's a really big deal here in America. So we thought we would celebrate and kind of use this as the jumping off point to talk about how to make a synergistic mono black deck. As fate would have it, I am running a homebrewed mono black deck in our Magic Arcanum Historic Pauper Tournament. So I have a Historic Pauper deck that I think is a really good representation of how to use black cards together to achieve victory. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Nicole has agreed to help me out here in this episode, in this endeavor. She's got her own fun deck. Nicole, what are you going to be playing today?
So typical for Black Friday, what are you going to do? You're going to look around, you're going to see some hot deals. Mm-hmm. So I decided to kick up the spice on my mono red deck and see what we can do with some burn and get some Black Friday hot deals in there.
Okay, so we're going to have mono black versus mono red. It's going to be an exciting, fun time. Hot deals is kind of the theme. We've done a few Black Friday special episodes in the past. Make sure you go back and check those out. They're always a lot of fun. We talked about Liliana's demon contract last year. It's all great stuff. Today's episode is actually sponsored by Into the AM. They make fantastic t-shirts like this sort of black hole kind of looking guy here. And they're having an awesome sale on their website. If you use the link in the description under this video, you'll save 10% on top of everything they've already got going on for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And they already have like 30, 40, 50, 60, up to 90% off some of their stuff. And you get an extra 10% if you use Magic Arcanum's link or just Magic Arcanum as a promo code. You can type that in. There's a box during checkout. Either way, you'll get another 10% knocked off your entire order, which is awesome. These shirts are so cool. Lightweight, breathable, very well constructed, just like my mono black deck, which we'll talk about in a second. But I love these shirts. I wear them all the time. Nicole, last time I saw you in New York, I was wearing one of these shirts, right? We hung out all day. I was wearing it. I went to my brother's wedding. I wore a different Into the AM shirt to that. They're perfect for every occasion. They got cool designs. They come in graphic designs. They can be just straight basics and solid colors. I've got red, black, and green, so I got a little Jund thing going on. You know, that's my style. But you do you, you know. Hit that link in the description, save 10%, plus Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. Great time to stock up your wardrobe or get some gifts going into the holidays. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to shop. That's on you. I am going to tell you how to make a synergistic mono black deck, though, specifically for Historic Pauper. But you can apply these lessons however they work best for you. What do you think, Nicole? Should we jump over to the deck list and take a look at things?
I think I'm ready.
You're ready. All right.
I'm ready.
Cool. Here we go. So here is my mono black Historic Pauper deck. And the whole thing, well, first I should say that I made this just after Midnight Hunt dropped and before Crimson Vow. So there's no new cards in here. But if you think there's something that would improve this list, by all means, copy it, add it, edit, do whatever. But anyway, I was working with what I had at the time. Why did I want to make a mono black deck for Historic Pauper? Well, there was a couple of cool cards that I thought worked really well together. Black, as we all know, is the color that cares the most about death. And that can actually mean a couple different things, right? So black can kill creatures the best, which is always great ability to have, especially in Pauper. You want to get enemy threats off the table. But black also has creatures that do interesting things when they die, and they have creatures that do interesting things when they see other creatures die. So all those things together kind of make the theme behind this deck. And it all starts with this guy right here, the Ecstatic Awakener. So this is a 1/1 for 1, not super impressive on its own. But pay 2 and a black, sacrifice another creature, you get to draw a card, which is fantastic, and then transform this guy into his other side, which is a 4/4 demon. Also with no super abilities on there. He doesn't fly, doesn't have lifelink or anything, but upgrading your 1/1 into a 4/4 and drawing a card is pretty good. In Pauper, I find that like 3 toughness and 3 power and 3 toughness is kind of average. So anytime you can get above that, you can either punch through their blockers or you can start to absorb a lot of incoming attacks. Now this deck is designed to be more aggressive, so we're going to be trying to punch in. And so play this on turn 1, that's ideal. On turn 2, you're looking for his best friend, the Nicole to his Ryan. You're looking for Novice Occultist. Okay, so this is a 2 mana 1/2 that says when it dies, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So you play that on turn 2, and then you're set up on turn 3 to use the Awakener's ability to eat the Cultist. Note that you will draw 2 cards and be left with a 4/4 ready to attack on turn 3. And if you're on the play, your opponent's only on turn 2, they probably don't have anything that can block, this guy at all within the Pauper format. So that's kind of the core of the deck. 1, 2, 3, get your Awakener out, feed him an Occultist, and then start attacking for 4 a turn and just try to quickly eliminate your opponent. That's what we're going for. Obviously, you cannot build a whole deck just around those 2 cards. Everything else in here is kind of to help support that plan, okay? So let's go back to our 1-drops here and just kind of work our way down the list. We've got 4 copies of Eaten Alive. So this is a sorcery, but it will exile a creature or planeswalker, and that's key because there are some indestructible threats out there, even in Pauper. There are some things that can come back from the graveyard. You don't really want to give your opponent the opportunity to get value out of those guys. So being able to exile anything for the cost of just 1 mana, now note, you'll have to sacrifice a creature or pay extra for this, but that's fine. We have plenty of great creatures that want to die anyway. So I'm happy to feed one of them into Eaten Alive so that I can exile anything I want. That's super good. Moving up a little bit, we've got Lash of Malice. Now I kind of consider this to be like a black shock. We're mostly interested in the -2 on the toughness side of things. This is great for picking off a small creature or maybe something that survived some combat damage. We can get rid of it. But this also does work with our Awakener. When he's a 4/4 demon, we can let him punch in for like 6 damage. He can kind of hit above his weight class there if we need to. It's kind of situational, so there's only 2 copies in here, but I have found this to be pretty good at just sniping those threats that you want to get. A lot of flyers have like 2 toughness, so this is kind of my anti-air card because I don't really have anything else that can fly myself. Serrated Scorpion is a lovely little 1-drop here. When it dies, it deals 2 damage to my opponent, and I gain 2 life. Works really great with the Awakener. I love to feed him this if I can't find the Occultist. He's just as happy to eat a Scorpion, which is super gross. Ugh. Rinse that taste out of my mouth. And the other great thing that we can eat is zombies. Shambling Ghast is another 1 mana 1/1. When it dies, I can give a creature -1/-1 until end of turn, or I can create a treasure token. Now the whole deck has an average mana cost of 1.8, so it's pretty low curve, and I'm able to get away with 23 lands. Usually I'd start with 24, and after some testing I found that I could shave 1, and that got me down to 23, and the deck runs pretty well on just those 23 lands. We'll talk about those in a second. So into the 2-drops, we've got some Burglar Rats in here. These are another fun card that I'm happy to eat with my Awakeners. They can chump block, whatever. When they enter the battlefield, though, each opponent discards a card. So that can be helpful against like the control kind of decks where they're sitting on a bunch of counter spells or things like that. I can kind of start to thin out their hand a little bit, make room for some of my own cards to come through. And then we have our Doomed Dissenters. When they die, they make a 2/2 black zombie creature token. That is perfect. This is another great card for the Awakener to eat, and that leaves me with another body afterwards, which maybe then I can use that zombie for eaten alive or something like that. So this is a really good way to get kind of double use out of one card. We already talked about Novice Occultist, and I've got a single copy of Vermin Gorger in here, a 2-mana 2/2 that lets me sacrifice another creature to drain 2 life out of my opponent again. So if this guy eats a scorpion, that's a 4-point change in life totals, really an 8-point total swing by the time the dust has settled. That's fantastic. They're not so great in multiples, though. I don't want to ever have like 2 or 3 of these in my hand, but I've found that I'm usually happy to draw just the one. So I've got 1 copy in here for now, but maybe with some more testing, I'll end up adjusting that. Going up to our 3 drops, we've got Wart-Eye Witch. Whenever Wart-Eye Witch or another creature I control dies, I get to scry 1. So she is going to watch for anything else to die and help me kind of stay on top of my deck and make sure I'm drawing what I need, whether it's more lands or get the lands out of the way, find more action. Yuan Ti Fangblade is a 2/2 with Death Touch. Now that right there is probably fine enough. Having a way to stop some of the bigger green decks with some very powerful creatures in there, if I can't find my removal, just having a nice Death Touch creature that I can sit there and block with is a pretty good deterrent. But this also attacks really well because if they don't block it and it deals combat damage, I get to venture into the dungeon. This is the only way that this deck can do that. But having a way to repeatedly do it is really convenient. And the dungeons are a whole thing that we could talk about another time. But they offer, the ability to scry, the ability to gain life, the ability to make tokens, which my other cards can eat. There's a lot of flexibility in there, and I've been having a really good time with the Fangblades in here. In fact, I might even push this up to 4 copies. I've got 3 right now, but maybe it is good enough to run 4 of those. I've also got 4 copies of Murder, which is a very clean removal, just destroys anything, instant speed for 3 mana. You've got to have that if you're in mono black or even black in anything deck, really. I think you're going to want some number of Murders. It's one of the best removal spells available in Pauper format. And topping out my curve, I got 1 copy here of Diregraph Horde. He makes a small army of zombies with him, and he's a 3/4 by himself. So not the biggest guy. I like that he lets me kind of go wide. He can kind of put that last bit of pressure down, and he gives me some extra bodies that I can feed into Vermin Gorger or something like that. So I didn't want to have too high of a curve there, so just 1 of the 5 drops. But I can get him back if I need him again using Witch's Cottage. So the lands are very, very straightforward. 20 basic swamps, 3 copies of Witch's Cottage. So this is also a swamp. When it enters the battlefield, if I've got 3 or more other swamps, it comes in untapped. And if it comes in untapped, I can put a creature card from my graveyard back on top of my library. So that ensures that the next thing I draw is going to be something useful rather than flooding out on another land. There are other lands open for Pauper Historic. There could be the cycling lands in here. There's Bajuka Bog, if I fear graveyard strategies from my opponent. But I wanted to keep things nice and tidy, just run basic swamps all the way through because my curve is so low. I didn't want any tapped stuff slowing me down. We're trying to be the aggressive deck here now against Nicole's red deck. Maybe I end up taking more of a control role, but we'll see. Quick look at the sideboard. I've got some Feed the Swarms in here. These can also destroy creatures, but it can also get rid of enchantments. Black kind of needs a way to do that. There's a few Pauper enchantments that can be tricky that we want to get off the table if we can, and this lets us answer those cleanly. We've also got some Farika's Libation. Similar idea, we can make them sacrifice their enchantment or sacrifice a creature if they are doing kind of a Boggles hexproof kind of a build where they just throw a bunch of auras on one creature that I can't target directly. Having a way to force them to sacrifice it can be really key. Some Tendrils of Corruption, X damage equal to the number of swamps that I control, and then I gain that much life. Obviously, the later in the game you can fire this off, the more impactful it will be. It helps that all of our lands are swamps, including the Witch's Cottages. So that's nice to have against a really aggressive deck like Nicole is piloting. I think games 2 and 3, we're going to have Tendrils brought into the main board. We've also got some Blood Pact down in here, which can help us draw extra cards. The fact that it is an instant Makes it really useful against, again, control decks. If they try to hold up counter spells or something, I can fire this off on their turn and force them to kind of go into my turn, maybe tapped out. Or if they don't answer it, I get to draw extra threats, I hope. And then we've got some suffocating fumes down here for the go wide tokens or elves or goblins or things that play a lot of small creatures. I can maybe wipe out a couple of them all in one go here with suffocating fumes, and then just a single copy of Skull Raid. I needed a 15th card for my sideboard, and this felt like a flexible one. It can draw me more cards, make my opponent discard cards. I can foretell it and just kind of stick it, outside my hand where it'll be safe, and I can use it for later if I want. That's the deck. The whole idea, again, the synergy. We're looking for creatures to die. We can force our own creatures to die for value. We have plenty of removal to force the opponent's stuff to die. And we're just going to aggressively try to get through their defenses and overrun them with our heavy hitters, which are the Ecstatic Awakener, who becomes the Awoken Demon, our Diagraph Horde, or the repeat value engine that is the Fangblade Snake Rogue. Those are kind of our win cons. We're a little weak against flying creatures, but our removal is going to help with that. And that's it. That's my version of a synergistic mono black deck, which I'm going to hopefully show off here as I suit up against Nicole in just a second, unless she has any questions about my deck while we're here on this page. Anything you want to add or ask about, Nicole?
I'm very excited to see it go. You shared this with me a little bit earlier. I've sent you mine, so we do have lists in advance. I don't know how long you've had to look through my cards, but it's not much different than mono red's been for me before. So you're right that you are going to have to race me pretty quickly on this and be aggressive. But there are some cards in here I haven't gotten a chance to see. Some of these new ones that I love mono black, and I still haven't gotten a chance to play with things like the Ecstatic Awakener, right? Like that. I'm excited to see that card come out and see, hopefully, if I can stop it. Because if I can't, then I'm a little worried. But I have some faith in my deck.
Well, there you go, folks. Place your bets. Who's going to come out ahead on this one? Don't cheat. Don't skip forward in the video. Think about it. Mono black. You haven't seen Nicole's deck. You'll get to see me make every choice. I'm going to talk through pretty much every decision that I make while Nicole is on the call with me. So she's going to have the advantage of knowing everything that I'm thinking. We're going to hopefully not let that dictate the course of the game. But I think this will be fun. Thanks for joining us today on this Black Friday. I have a lot of fun making these videos. If you want to see more like this, if you want to see from Nicole's perspective and get the breakdown on her deck, let us know down in the comments. Otherwise, sit tight because we're jumping over to the games. Here we go. All right, here we are into the game. We're doing a best of 3. We set it to coin flip. Who's going to play or draw first? Looks like I won the flip. And being that I want to be as aggressive as possible, we're going to take play first. Here's our opening 7. We've got 2 lands, and Nicole's like taking notes furiously on her notepad over there. 2 lands, some removal, I'll just say, some small creatures. And I think we're in pretty good shape. We don't quite have every piece that we want to see for the first few turns, but we have stuff that we can do for those first few turns. And that is the important part, keeping up our tempo, our velocity, our speed. We're going to be able to do that, I think, just fine here. So we're going to keep our 7, see what Nicole does.
I also have a pretty good spread. Maybe not immediately like you in the first it'll go there, but we got something. Sure. So I too am going to keep my 7.
All right. So to lead off, we're going to drop one of our basic swamps, and then follow that with a Serrated Scorpion. So this is going to be clutch card against her aggressive red deck, being able to gain back some of that lost life or hold off an attacker. These guys are going to be MVPs for sure. All right, so we've drawn another card. So at this point already, I'm trying to think, how do I want to sequence this the most effectively? And I think the best thing that we're going to do here is just attack outright. Before we even play anything or do anything else, we're just going to send this in because I know she's not going to be able to block it. Let her decide if she wants to use any of her removal, try to burn this guy out, which probably is not wise, but whatever. All right, so he gets in for his 1. Then we get to decide what to do next. We're going to follow it up with his twin, the other Serrated Scorpion. And then unfortunately our land for the turn is going to come in tapped here, but that's actually fine. Sets us up great for the next couple of turns. So We'll see what the red deck answers back with. Can they survive the assault of the Scorpions?
I've played against quite a few of these Scorpions, and they frustrate me every time. Every time. But we're gonna try to party through this one.
All right, so we have a Festival Crasher. A 2-mana 1/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. All right, so that guy can become dangerous. Well, once again, sequencing is important, and we want to maintain our aggression here since we are on the play. Nicole could block either of these without either of us losing a creature, but that's fine. We still at least get in for 1 damage. And now we do have a point of decision. Do we want to kill this Festival Crasher before it can become dangerous? Or play something more on curve? I think I want to get rid of this guy while we can, so we are going to follow up post-combat with Lash of Malice to give it the final -2. And then unfortunately that means we're not playing anything else this turn, but we've got 2 creatures to her none, and I want to keep the board as clear as possible so that we can stay aggressive.
That's probably a good idea.
Thank you for agreeing with me and not being bitter that I just crashed the party for your Festival Crasher.
He looked like he was having such a good time too. I mean,
great art. The pumpkin head is just such a good
classic. I do love the art on that guy. So
it's a good one.
Let's see here. I have a couple different moves I could make.
Okay.
But you've got some angry Scorpions over there. So
they're just little 1/2s, man. Why are you so scared of the Scorpions? They're not.
I think we're going to have some classic mono red pauper fun.
Yeah, Thermo Alchemist. So for anyone who hasn't seen this card, like she said, it is a classic pauper card, not just on Arena where we only have the card pool for historic, but in paper pauper where you can play anything. This guy also sees play there, right? So an 0/3 defender, you're thinking, wow, that's not very good in an aggressive red deck. Why would you ever play an 0/3 defender? Tap him to deal 1 damage. Okay, fine. Every time you cast an instant or sorcery, he gets to untap, and this deck can chain together instants and sorceries, squeezing in extra damage every time with this guy gets to really whittle down your life total. So I'm a little nervous about that. But we're just going to have to fight our way through it. So, same as last time, we're going to open with our attacks here before we do anything else. I don't want to... It's bad enough Nicole already knows like every card in my deck and most of what's going to be in my hand. I don't want to like play it out before combat if I don't have to. We've got 3 mana to work with, and we're going to try and use all of it by playing out one of our Fang Blades. Now, this guy's pretty dangerous, and I suspect Nicole kept up something to deal with that, but we'll see. Okay, so she's going to pass and start her turn, probably because the Alchemist was still suffering from summoning sickness there. She wouldn't be able to get the extra damage out of him. So maybe we're going to wait and try to kill one of my guys now, or on my turn, before he gets to attack. She's got some options here, not trying to tell her how to play her turn here, but just imagining what I would do in her situation, and that's a good skill, right? When you're first learning Magic, you think about what to do on your turn. When you get a little better, you start to think about what your opponent might do on their turn. And when you get better still, you think about what your opponent thinks you're going to do on your turn, and then you try to deviate from that to throw them off, and there's layers upon layers, man. All right, so she is using Skewer the Critics to deal 3 damage after using Thermo Alchemist to do 1 damage, right? So that enabled the Spectacle, so then she was able to cheaply do Skewer, which then untapped Alchemist, which then let him go again. So I am already down, oh boy, down to 12. She just chained all those together very cheaply, down to 11, and the hits keep coming.
We're best friends. Like, you'll make it through this.
I'm gonna need these these Scorpions are gonna have to die here to get me some life back. Oh, and then she followed it up with Frostbite, which explains the snow-covered mountains. So 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control snow permanents, though, it's 3. So it basically becomes Lightning Bolt. It can't hit players, and there are no planeswalkers in Pauper, but it is still very effective removal. So Good move. All right, once again, we're going to attack in, see if she is afraid of another Lash of Malice. She doesn't block, so she is afraid of another Lash.
I am.
And we're going to try to, again, use most of our mana. Well, use all of our mana. So we happen to have a second Fang Blade here. I know she was nervous enough about the first one to kill that, so perhaps she will spend some burn going after this one as well.
Perhaps.
We're down to just 10. Would love to find one of my murders or some way to get Alchemist off the table here. Eaten Alive would be great because I could cash in a Scorpion, get some life back as well.
I think we're gonna do something a little shifty. It's usually what I say before
incoming. Oh gosh, down to 9. Okay.
We got some hot deals.
Oh no, Twin Alchemists. Okay.
We got some hot deals. How hot are these deals, Ryan?
I don't know. It's Black Friday. These better be the best deals out there.
Oh, the best deals out there?
The best oh my gosh, it's a 3-for-1.
Trying to get my Alchemist off the table and get 3 of them off the table.
Welp. So our plan remains the same. Attack. See if we can trick her into blocking.
I don't think I want to block
She's
any
not
of
falling
this.
for it. That's fine.
I think
we
I'm
get to
alright
venture.
with you. Yeah, let's see what
We
you
get to
got
venture,
here.
and we get to pick any of these 3 ridiculous options here. I think. We're going to take the middle one. Lost Mine of Fandelver. That's going to let us scry. Although, case could be made for Mad Mage, because that starts with us gaining life, which I kind of like. Although the layers after that are not as useful as what we're going to get off of Fandelver. So we'll do that. We get to scry. Ooh. Pretty
Spicy.
good. Man, this is probably the decision that makes or breaks this game.
Is it a swamp?
It is not a swamp. It is another 2-drop, though. And so if I keep this on top, then I won't get a 4th swamp. And so I'll be playing like under curve. So like I'm wondering if I should... I think I'll keep it because it's one of the better 2-drops in the deck. All right, so with this remaining 3 mana, now that I just told you we have a handful of 2-drops, I think... Oof. We're going to put down our Dissenter, and I was considering actually using him for being eaten alive, but I just remembered the Scorpions are way better. So we're going to get one of these guys out of here. We're going to feed a Scorpion into eaten alive. That's going to gain us a little bit of life, drain some life from you, and remove one of your threatening Thermo Alchemists. So that is the beauty of a synergistic deck. I hope you guys all noticed how all the cards worked together there to make that happen. We gained some life. We drained some from Nicole. We removed a threat. You know, all that stuff just kind of hums. It's a beautiful little melody there when mono black death triggers start to stack up. I love it. Love it.
What is this guy do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about my little doomed Dissenter?
Well, you wanted the best deals, and now we're all out of deals, so...
Oh, we're out of deals. So you're just going to have to, what, ping me with your alchemists?
I think we're gonna ping you.
Sure.
I think we're just gonna ping you once, because I think well, am I even gonna 2, 3, 4 damage and
She's counting. Uh-oh.
we get to go into the dungeon. I'm so bad at math, I shouldn't be playing red.
You only have to count to 20 most of the time, right? It's easy.
I have 10 fingers.
You have to count to 10 twice. That's easy.
You've got 4 damage on the board now. Am I gonna block 4 damage? That takes me halfway down. I mean, you're spooking me over here. You got some guys out, and I wasn't expecting guys.
Well, this deck is mostly creatures, actually. I think it's 27 creatures was the total.
I think we're gonna, what does he say? Instant or sorcery?
Yep.
think we're gonna hold on doing anything else.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Get a
All
little
right.
excited over here, and usually not a good idea.
No, so we are going to, once again, press our advantage. Swing team. So this is the beauty of the Fang Blade, right? She could block it, but then she's given up her Alchemist. She could let it through, and then she lets me venture again. And the more I get to venture, the better this card gets. So at some point, she's going to have to deal with it. Could be right now with like an instant. And I'm just filling the air with words that are about to become worthless, but who knows?
I don't know. This is mono red. I might be all right with going down to 4. Can
Yeah?
I deal 10 damage in one turn? Probably.
All right, so she takes it all. We get to venture again. And so we have a choice. We can make a token, or we can make a treasure. And I think the path here is treasure, because that gives us 4 mana, and we're holding a handful of 2-drops, so we get to now double spell. And so one of those is going to be the Vermin Gorger that we had left on top of our deck with that Scry previously, because this guy, being able to drain life, is going to be great. And we can follow that up with our Occultist, which, if Nicole wants to kill it, fine, because we get to draw a card. And if she doesn't kill it, we're just going to probably feed it to the Vermin Gorger and drain more life out of her that way. Either way, she's kind of in a pickle, which is what you want to do, right? Your goal as a Magic player is to put your opponent in a position where they have no good options, right? If you can leave them with only bad choices, that's how you really win. So that's what this deck is kind of designed to do. Leave our opponent with only bad options, and hopefully we're going to see that work out here. All right. Down to 8. Down to 7. She's got 1 mana left. Does she have another Frostbite, Skewer, something like that? Shock, Frostbite. All right, so she is worried about the Vermin Gorger, which makes perfect sense. It's probably the more dangerous card, especially when paired with the Serrated Scorpion. That would have been lethal right there. So she had to answer our Vermin Gorger.
Had to
do it. Similarly, she kind of has to also answer, like, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we're just going to swing for the team here, swing fences, and see what she does. So again, she's got 3 blockers against my 4 attackers, so at least 1 damage is getting through here.
Yeah, at least.
She is finally going to give up one of the Alchemists to stop the Fang Blade from getting another Venture trigger. And I don't think she wants to block the Scorpion with the Weird, because then that would be bad. She could block Dissenter or Occultist will either leave a token or draw me a card, so, you know, those aren't great to block either.
What happens when I activate this? I don't know that I've done this before.
Activating
All right.
after blocking.
Well,
Good. All
fine.
right. Sure.
I feel all right about that.
Okay.
Relative.
Well, yeah, you're at 2.
You have a card, lose some life.
All right, so you're holding 1 card left, and we're going to use one of our miser burglar rats here to force you to discard it. Hopefully it's something good. It was a mountain. Fine, whatever. But now you're in top deck mode, so I go to 4.
Whatever.
Oh gosh. Whatever. As long as this isn't like a 3-mana burn spell. Or if it's any... Ooh, if it kills the rat, then I guess your Gorger just gets me, so... Hopefully you drew another mountain. Or am I dead? The suspense is killing me. All right, well, you're not just like windmill slamming...
No, I'm not. This is...
All right, so the Weird's coming in. I think we're going to chump block that. Okay.
I like this. Oh, man, I think I lose. Yeah. GG.
Is this the preemptive GG where you're trying to trick me?
No, I've done the math.
Just in case I'm getting sandbagged here, we're gonna drop our Wart Eye Witch and our Swamp, and all right. So yeah, even if you block Fangblade, you're taking 2, unless you're holding something that again can kill somebody. GG. No, okay. All right, so we win the first of our best of 3. So now we get to see how the sideboards are going to play into things here. That was a super close game, but I think it shows the advantage of being aggressive, right? And we were able to get in there and attack and kind of set the pace that the game unfolded at. We had some life gain in there to kind of buffer us just enough to buy the time that we needed. And now we get to look at our sideboard and see what's going to help us in this particular matchup. Sideboarding, if you've only played best of 1 on Arena, which is totally a valid way to play, you might never have encountered sideboarding. So let's try and walk through it, right? So Nicole's deck is very aggressive. We would like to potentially gain some extra life if we can. And I mentioned during the deck breakdown, Tendrils of Corruption is kind of perfect for that. So let's say we want to bring those 3 copies in. We got to take 3 other cards out to make room for those, right? So where do we find room? Well, we could probably skip our Diagraph Horde. These are both expensive spells. We don't really want to have a lot of expensive spells. And, I don't foresee this guy being super useful against her type of deck anyway. So we'll take him out. And then we got to cut 2 other cards. And I think it's going to be the Burglar Rats, even though they did kind of work in that last match. I think I'd rather just have a way to gain life rather than try to run her out of cards, being that her deck is also aggressive. It'll run out of cards pretty quick itself too, by itself anyway, so I don't really need to make her discard. So that's really going to be my only change here, is just dropping Burglar Rats and the very expensive Diagraph Horde for our Tendrils of Corruption. And we'll see what that does. Nicole, are you making changes on your end?
I am.
Take your time.
Some way to keep you from amassing a giant mono black army over there. Because boy, howdy, do you have one? At least that's how it feels. So we're gonna see what we can do here.
Yeah, well, you played 3 Thermal Alchemists, so
I got excited.
You were not short for your own army either.
Army of Defenders. We are peaceful people.
The peaceful mono red deck. Well, you get the advantage of going first this time, which that by itself could change the whole outcome of everything.
Yeah, it could. All right.
All right.
I
so Nicole's
suppose
deciding.
I have a decision to make.
Yeah. Are you keeping that 7 or mulliganing it?
Taking them all.
Okay, so that presents us with the opportunity to keep our 7, and because we're going second, we'll draw a card, which is actually going to put us up 1, really, and that could be really good. I don't love the fact that we drew one of our most expensive cards in our opener, but it is one that we sideboarded in specifically for this matchup, so I guess it's worth keeping that. And now she knows that what we're sitting on. Hopefully she'll forget by the time we're able to cast it. But we do have, again, early stuff, some lands, good mix. All right, and she opens with a mountain and then nothing. So
mountain nothing, go.
Mountain nothing is the best thing you can see from a red deck, I think. That is a whole free turn. That you just time walked. All right,
what?
So nothing. You shocked a scorpion, but it ends up helping us more than hurting us. I will take those trades all day.
If you believe that it helped, then I give you.
I think so. I mean, I'm winning 22-18. Isn't life total how you decide who's winning? Isn't that the most important thing?
I once thought it was the most important thing as well, and then I started playing this deck.
Ah, yes. Okay. So your life is a resource. It is not score. Winning at 1 is the same as winning at 22. It doesn't matter what your life total is, really. Although I just admitted I want to keep mine higher than yours, but
this is red versus mono black, where that makes a
is-
lot of sense.
That is true. All right, so we've got 2 swamps, and so that means we're going to play out one of our cultists. Doesn't match up super great against Lava Runner, especially because she's probably got another instant or sorcery, which will give her 2 in the graveyard, which will turn this into a 2/2, which then lets it attack through our cultist. But
That'd be great,
We'll see.
wouldn't it?
or she's holding 4 snow-covered mountains in her hand, and
We're gonna run with this little fella.
okay, all right. Goblin instigator who spawns his own little friend. Sure. Alrighty. So now we have our own choice to make for our 3 drops. Kind of like going with our Wart-Eye Witch here. So she's a 3/2. Whenever she or another creature I control dies, we get to scry. So we're going to hold back here since we are not really the aggressive player in this particular match. Or game, I guess the whole match. But yeah, our cultist still blocks these goblins just fine. And if she does manage to power up the Lava Runner, I'm actually okay taking the block here because we have a nice little synergy with the occultist and the witch. But we'll see if it comes to that or if something else happens.
I'm doing math again. Can you tell?
I can tell because you're hovering over a bunch of cards and you're...
I do dislike that it shows you when I'm reading the card.
That is good. Reading the card, very crucial. Undervalued skill. A lot of players seem to not have.
I like to tell folks that I have a very bad habit of not reading the last sentence on every Magic card.
Yes.
And it's true. And the last
That's-
sentence is typically the most important sentence.
That's the one that gets you. All right, so she is attacking in with everybody, which makes me somewhat nervous. I don't really want to risk my witch here, but I will try and take out one of the goblins with the occultist. See where that gets me. All right,
just
we're gonna
barge on in.
Ooh, brutal. All right, so barge in. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Attacking creature gets +2/+2. Each attacking non-human gains trample. So, yeah, I wonder if I should have blocked the human there. Anyway, I get some triggers. I get to scry before I draw a card, and yeah, we'll take that for sure.
That's always good, right? Yeah, that one.
We'll take that. Yeah, it's exactly what I wanted. Okay. So now, how do we best play this turn, right? So we've got 2 dead creatures in the graveyard. I would love to get the scorpion back. So we're going to use Witch's Cottage and put that scorpion right back on top of our library. And then we still have 4 mana to work with. So I think first we're going to actually just attack with our witch. Send a clear message to Nicole that we are still in the driver's seat here. And then, I think I like getting our Fang Blade down because I know this is a dangerous card as well that she has to answer. So that's probably the best use of our mana right now. And we'll see how Nicole proceeds from here. Now, she seems to be stuck on just 2 lands. But for an aggressive red deck, that's not usually a problem. If anything, that's probably a good thing.
Do it again.
So in she comes again with the attack. So now, is she holding another barge in?
What if I am?
What if you are? Let's find out. We're gonna try to do another block. And see if she is holding a trick or if she's willing to let that goblin go and just get in for 3 damage, which is still substantial, but I want to believe she had something prepared here in case I did block. And she's going to try to give her goblin double strike. Interesting. Unfortunately, we're holding the
gonna work.
Lash of Malice, which
Oh,
that's
no.
exactly why this is in this deck. We get to snuff that guy out before he can kill our Fang Blade. Okay, and now we're in a great spot to just attack here. We're going to get to venture into the dungeon, which is awesome. And so do we run the Lost Mine again, or do we switch it up and do the Mad Mage? I think we're just going to keep the Lost Mine here. So we get to scry. Yeah, not a bad idea. We'll keep that guy there. And then we've got 4 mana to work with. She knows we've got the Serrated Scorpion. And we'll give it some help with an Occultist. And we'll give it some help with another Scorpion.
My goodness.
Excellent use of our mana. Board is now much wider than hers. She's found a 3rd mountain. And our synergy is really working out pretty good here. I think we've got, you know, the witch watching for stuff to die. We got stuff that wants to die. And she's got her Thermo Alchemist, who would be a problem, except we happen to have exactly what we need in the form of our sideboard card here. We're going to use Tendrils of Corruption to deal 4 damage to that, gain 4 life because we had 4 swamps. And now we can attack in pretty safely. I don't know, this 2/2 Lava Runner does give me pause because it could take out either the Fangblade or the Witch. Or it could just eat one of the smaller guys, but I don't think she's going to do that. I think we're already at the point where I'm okay if she wants to block either of those. Note again, I'm trying to give her no good option, right? If she blocks the Witch, Fangblade gets to venture into the dungeon, or she can chump block it with a Goblin, but then, you know, I'm still fine. If she blocks the Fangblade, then the Witch is going to hit for more damage, and I'll get a free Scry. Or, there we go, okay.
None of this is good.
None of it's great. So, we get to venture. We're going to create a Goblin token this time. And we get to scry, and I kind of like having that card on top. So we will leave that right there. All right, Mono Black, Black Friday, gonna win it in 2 games. Not to get ahead of myself, but I'm feeling pretty good about my chances here. This is a red hot deal. I like this deck.
You should feel pretty good about it.
You are always a great sport to play with and against, Nicole. I appreciate that. I want everyone at home watching to know Nicole beats me like just as much as I beat her. When we play Commander, when we play in paper, when we do drafts together, she is a totally competent, very excellent Magic player. She won our Pauper tournament in the first season, right? When we've run this tournament a few times. And if you want to join it, become a lore mage using our link in the description. That gets you Patreon. That gets you into our exclusive Discord. You get to play in our tournaments for free, and we do prizes. We send you stuff. It's a good way to meet other players and kind of get more into the game. So if you're looking to level up, consider becoming a patron. You know, it's only $3 a month if you want. Anyway, I'm going to try to wrap up this game here before I give the sales pitch. We're going to start by murdering the Spellgorger Weird, which should remove most of your blockers, although not all of them, and not enough that you don't necessarily die here.
I think I do, though.
Well,
no, I guess
4.
I could
Yeah, if you block the Fang Blade, you go to 1.
Well, we're about staying alive, so
Very
let's
nice.
just try that.
I don't even get to venture, so all right.
Yeah, good game.
Good game. Kiln Fiend, another great pauper card, both on Arena and just in paper as well. But yeah, I think we just get to swing in here for the GGs, and that is it, friends. That is my mono black historic pauper deck built around synergy. Creatures that die, creatures that watch for other creatures to die, keeping that curve low and aggressive. Lots of ways to draw cards. We want to get through our deck quickly, keep the tempo up, and apply pressure until we get the V, get the victory, or get the W, I guess. Nicole, how'd you feel about all that?
Pretty good. You got a lot more creatures out than I was expecting. During my mental run-throughs, looking at what was going on.
Yeah.
you know, I anticipated I'd be able to take care of some of those creatures, but again, having finished deck building about 10 minutes before we started here, I feel that this deck that I'm running could use a few more spells, a little bit more than we got in there. I think I've got about
Sure.
19 spells, 22 creatures, something like that. So
Okay.
it's not enough, but it did well. It still came out. It had some hot deals, and
Yeah.
we
That
took
first
some of
game
your
was
stuff
very,
out.
very close. Like it came down to just a few points there. So yeah, and you've played that type of deck before, and you're
Yes.
comfortable making some edits, and you got to experiment, right? If you
Yep.
wanted to see what this version of it did, and now you know, and you'll kind of dial in your creature spell balance and get back to where you like it. I'm still really happy with this deck. I'm doing well with it in the current season of the tournament. This is the first time I've run it. There's some things I might change in here already. But I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. You know, let me know what you think of my mono black historic pauper deck here. Does it have synergy? Does it look like a winner? Would you be surprised at the creatures that it can dump on the board? Or, you know, does it look like it's not worth the sum of its parts? Because sometimes when you read a deck list, it can be hard to kind of figure it out and see what it's going to really do. I think that some of the synergy in here is subtle, and some of it is more overt. But it comes together really well, and I've been happy with this package, but I want your feedback. So let us know down in the comments if you're having a great Black Friday, if you want to see more episodes like this, where we kind of get into, you know, what makes a deck work or where we get our ideas from. We want to hear all about that as well. And then, of course, while you're down underneath this video, you know, leaving those comments and liking and subscribing. Also, check out Into the AM using our link down there. You'll save 10% on your order. Plus, they got the great Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. You can get amazing t-shirts like this one. Super comfortable, lightweight, very, very nice fit to them. They're the tailor-fitted style, so they're not like those boxy, ugly, square t-shirts. Like, they have a nice contour. You'll be the best looking creature at F&M. I can pretty much guarantee you that. So hit that link. Put some stuff in your cart, check it out. It supports the show. We really appreciate it. You can also become a patron. We love that too. We love talking to our friends and fans on Discord. We have a really lively community there. We love doing the tournaments with them. I'm hoping to go the rest of the way with this mono black deck, but you know, I don't know. Things may or may not work out for me. We'll see. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you do like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find
Magic Arcanum.
on Magic Arcanum. She got it. We'll see ya.